Hello guys, welcome to episode 28 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast, a podcast dedicated to everything indie on the Nintendo Switch. I'm Adam and I'm here today joined by a seasoned regular, but I've just realised he's kind of like a London bus. You don't see him around for ages and then all of a sudden he comes on 2 episodes in a row. It is Age, in quotes, no thumbs of Boredom. Age of Boredom, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
I was asked by Daft to call you No Thumbs without any reference, so maybe you can give us some insight onto why your Age No Thumbs of Boredom.
Well, it was because I'm no good at a particular genre, the old 2D platformer, but
okay.
We just played a little head-to-head of a game that's in embargo, but I feel like I just proved that I have got some thumbs in that.
Yeah.
So maybe I've got like one thumb. Boredom is probably a more apt name.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Like, I'm also not the best at 2D platformers, but which I guess we just showed. But very, very interesting game. I'm excited to talk about it more when we can. But but we can't this episode because it's embargoed till the 2nd of May. But anyway, this is the Switch Indie Fix podcast, a podcast dedicated to indies on the Nintendo Switch. This week, we're going to be talking about our kind of reviews and impressions of SteamWorld Quest, the latest game from Image and Form, and the latest game in the SteamWorld universe. Also going to be talking about this week's indie news, including whether or not Katana Zero has been a success, what new game developer Devolver Digital is bringing to the Switch next week, and which kind of old forgotten game is also making a kind of like a Phoenix Rising comeback to the Switch sometime later this year. But before we get into that, guys, I'd like to give you all a gentle reminder. We do need your questions for the podcast. If you do have any questions, indie game related, Nintendo Switch related, or just any general questions you want to ask us, please make sure you write into switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. Plus, if you are looking for a fun gaming community to join, why not check out the SIF Discord server? Just head over to switchindiefix.com/Discord to join. And speaking of SteamWorld Quest, Stevie, you have a SteamWorld Quest Let's Play going on right now. Where can people go and check that out?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/ageofboredom. And if you check out my latest videos, there's a playlist for SteamWorld Quest right now. So if you're on the fence, if you've read your review, go and read your review first. Once you've read that, if you want to see a little bit of gameplay, then go over to the channel and check that out.
Yeah, I think you're on episode 9 already. Like, you're pumping them out pretty
I luckily, we both got the game a little bit early. So gave us a good chance to kind of get ahead with that. So I had quite a bit recorded and edited. I've actually released all my edited footage, so I've still got like about 5 or 6 episodes to edit tomorrow. So that'll be my Sunday.
Very exciting Sunday to have. I'm also editing stuff tomorrow too. But anyway, let's start with section 1 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast, and that section is the news. This week there are 5 items on the list. That's half a baker's dozen. And the first one is Katana Zero smashes 100,000 sales in its first week. So, becoming Devolver Digital's second fastest selling game on a Nintendo Switch, Katana Zero has managed to sell over 100,000 copies on Switch and Steam within its first week. Being second only to the excellent Enter the Gungeon, Katana Zero was also Devolver's highest pre-ordered game on the Switch, beating off other titles like The Messenger and Minute. To say thank you, the game's developer Akisoft confirmed on Twitter that they are already hard at work with the game's first free DLC, and that they will be adding a speedrun mode to the game. The game seems to have been a massive success both critically and financially, because when I last checked, it was charting at number 2 on the EU Nintendo eShop chart. Stevie, have you played any Katana Zero yet?
No, I saw it at EGX, and there was like pretty big queues like everywhere for it, so I didn't get to have a go. As I only have one thumb, well, I've got 2 thumbs, but as I'm terrible at 2D platformers, I was kind of a bit wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up or not, because I'm generally terrible at those games, and I heard it was like a pretty tough one, but Paul from Switched On really recommends it. Like check out his YouTube review for that. I think he gave it a perfect score, right?
10 out of 10. Yeah.
He said he wasn't super like good at those kind of games either, but he managed to get through it with a little bit of persistence, and said he clearly enjoyed it. So maybe I will pick it up at some point in the future.
So yeah, already the mic is messing up. We were just saying about Katana Zero. It seems to be one of those. It seems to be a game like I didn't know anything about it until the recent Nindy showcase, and then since then the game just seems to have, like, obviously from the sales, it seems to have just been like massive and been a massive hit with indie fans and 2D platformer fans, which is pretty cool. So again, coming from Devolver Digital is story number 2, which is Swords of Ditto, Mormo's Curse is confirmed for the Switch. So Devolver Digital and One Bit Beyond have confirmed that roguelike action RPG Swords of Ditto is coming to the Switch on May 9th. The Mormo's Curse version seems to be like a deluxe edition, adding in all the updates that have been released on other platforms over the last year or so. Do you know anything about this game, Stevie?
I think I've got it on the PC. It was one that they were giving away free with Twitch, I think.
Yeah.
I think actually Twitch must have a Devolver Digital like kind of link or something, because I've picked up quite a few of their games that way actually.
Yeah. So it's I think I also have it on PC through Twitch as well, but I've never played it. But it's like like it says, it's like an RPG, kind of like the old school Zelda games, but it has like a roguelike element to it. So you basically start off as this character. And you kind of go into like this village, and the village says, oh yeah, every 100 years this like evil magician comes and ruins the village, and there's like this one hero that can stand up to him, which is who you are. So you basically enter a dungeon and go and try and fight the evil wizard, but because it's a roguelike, the first time you do it you die, and then time skips forward like another 100 years. And you play as the descendant of the hero, so it's like you're like the grandson or whatever, or the granddaughter. And it's kind of like Rogue Legacy. You keep some of the traits that your previous hero had, and you can also like find some of their weapons. So it might be that on the previous hero's grave, it might be like the sword they were using to fight the bad guy. So it's like, okay, then you start off with like a better sword. So each of your run gets a little bit better, and it also like it impacts the village that you're in. So the actions that you did in the previous run affect how the village looks like 100 years on. And so like I think it's kind of like a cool twist to the roguelike kind of mechanic, making it almost like an RPG. And like as usual for me, it's always the art style that drives me in. It's like this really colourful, like poppy cartoon art style. So it's a game I've been wanting to come to the Switch for, well, since like the Devolver started porting over games, and I'm glad it's finally coming. I think it's $12.99 on the eShop, I think.
Oh, that's a pretty good price as well.
I think it is. But yeah, it's definitely around that like 15 euro mark. So
Devolver Digital really nailed pricing on the Switch.
Yeah. Just overall, like as a publisher, they just seem to be doing everything right, and they don't really take themselves too seriously, but they seem to have like whoever is like their kind of like gaming scout just picks out these like amazing games every time. There's always something unique about them or different about them, and they all seem to sell pretty well. And yeah, like they have like this two-pronged attack, like Steam and Switch at the minute. Everything seems to be coming to the Switch that they've had, because I think Swords of Ditto was originally like a PS4. It had like some type of exclusivity on PS4. But now, yeah, obviously the Switch version is coming on May 9th. Story number 3 is fun new stuff is coming to Stardew Valley in the next update. So talking on Twitter, Concerned Ape confirmed that he's already working on the 1.4 free update to Stardew Valley, and that it will add new stuff and quality of life features. One such feature, he says, is the ability to buy back items you've lost when dying in the mines. And I just realised on my show notes I spelled dying as in like he's dying clothes and not dying as in getting killed. Oh, sorry, I nearly had a heart attack. My neighbour on the balcony above us is like hanging out sheets, and I just saw this like big black shadow coming down at my window. Thought like a bird was gonna fly in or something. Anyway,
Anonymous.
Yes. Yes, very. Like
foreshadowing there.
Well, my neighbor, he does one of two things. He's either like shouting really loudly in whatever language he speaks, and it's like if I spoke the language, like I'd understand every word he says because he speaks so loud when he's on the phone. And the second thing is he's always dropping stuff onto my balcony. So there's always like a slipper down here, or like an item of clothing that he's drying that falls down. So yeah, I'm always a bit worried when I'm on the balcony. I'm like, oh, what's gonna fall down next? But
you're gonna have to start posting these things on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. Well, a fun insight into my life was it was about a month ago. I woke up on a Tuesday morning, went out, opened the curtains, and my balcony was just covered in glass. Like covered. It was like as if like glass had snowed down from the sky. It was like on my chairs, like on the armrests on my chairs. It was like perfectly just glass, and it wasn't like glass that you would like a drinking glass. It was, like tempered glass from like a table, like a dining room table. It was like that kind of thick black glass.
Oh wow!
I was just like, what the hell happened? But anyway, he was getting his apartment redecorated, and one of the decorators was carrying his table out, and somehow managed to drop his table, this pane of glass from his table down onto my balcony. So I had to spend like 2 hours hoovering up my bloody balcony, which was a bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, never mind. So back to our indie game podcast. Yes, Stardew Valley. A game I know a lot of people love. I think it's cool that it's been out for, is it like 3 or 4 years now, and Concerned Ape is still updating it pretty regularly and adding, like, improving it and adding to it, which I think is cool because I think the guy's probably loaded by now and probably doesn't need to keep going back to Stardew Valley. Like, most people see it being a pretty perfect game as it is. But yeah, it's always in like the charts, and it never seems to be on sale. So he must be making a lot of money. So I guess it's like his baby and passion project.
Yeah, well, he worked on it for years and years and years before it was released, right? So yeah. I guess he loves that game so much. I think I would have got so bored of working on that by now. I would want to at least go and work on another game and then maybe come back to it. Just to have a like palate cleanser. He must be like fully like invested still.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a big game, I guess. So there's a lot you can do with it. But yeah, I think as a project, after like 4 or 5 years or however long he's been working on it, it's longer, then I'd be bored too. So story number 4 is Shakedown Hawaii is coming to the Switch very soon. So finally, Shakedown Hawaii has a release date of May 7th. You play as one of 3 characters to take down gangs and villains to ensure your own criminal empire spreads over the island. To do this, you'll have to destroy computer servers with bad reviews of your hotels on them, and take out drug dealers that are lowering your property's value. The game comes from developers V-Blank Entertainment, whom some of you will know developed Retro City Rampage. Shakedown Hawaii seems to take the over-the-top violence from that game, put it in a bigger world, and upgrade the graphics to 16-bit. Looking at it just from the kind of release video that I saw, it kind of reminds me of the original Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah.
You just kind of like going around with like a gun and a flamethrower and just causing havoc. But I guess it has a bit more of like a story behind it, and
it's kind of like Vice City, like GTA Vice City, but then in the like really old like Grand Theft Auto kind of style.
Yeah, true. It's it kind of has like that grotesque humor kind of thing of like, like killing people in funny ways. Like there's a bit in the video where there's like a group of enemies coming towards you, and the guy jumps in a steamroller and just squashes them all. So I think I've seen. I think it was in the Discord, people talking about it and being excited and saying like in an indie showcases, I hope that we get a release date. So it's cool that there is a final release date and it's coming pretty soon.
He's been saying it's coming soon for like about 18 months, so it's kind of cool that there is actually a date now.
Yeah, like I think originally it was supposed to come in last year, or maybe even the year before. Yeah, the year before. Yeah, 2017. So for fans who are excited for it, it's good that it's coming. It looks like May is going to be like another busy month for for indie games with Sword of Ditto come in and Shakedown Hawaii, which is pretty nice. And the final story this week is 13. Yes, the 2003 Ubisoft game is getting a remake on the Switch. So you heard me right. The cel-shaded first-person shooter released by Ubisoft way back in 2003. Did I say 2013 before? No.
Maybe.
2003. Yeah, I think I did. But it's 2003. It was the original release. It's getting a release for new Nintendo Switch. So slated for November 2019. The 13 remake will be handled by Microids and Play Magic Limited, who want to revive story-driven FPSs that are missing in today's landscape. I feel like no one's really been asking for this game, but I'm quite happy that it's coming because I remember being in 2003 when the game came out, and I was 12 in 2003, and kind of been interested in playing it, but not been old enough to play it, and not really understanding like the themes behind it. I just thought it looked cool because of the graphics. Plus, I watched the trailer, like the teaser trailer, and it's like a really awesome, like well cut, like it looks like an intro to James Bond. So the way they do it, or even like James Bond or Mission Impossible, like really, really cool intro with like the cel shaded graphics and really stylistic. So I suggest you go to Microid's YouTube and check it out.
There's a lot of people on my YIIK videos been saying that they think, like we'll mention this game. So I wonder if I imagine they've probably been playing this for a little while, really. Yeah. But it seems that like with YIIK, it kind of renewed interest in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess like YIIK took the art style took inspiration from it, and then like you say, now maybe they're seeing people have like the art style in YIIK, so maybe it's time to be like, okay, well, we remember this game from 17 years ago. We're bringing it back. I'm kind of happy. Like, yeah, why not? Like if the graphics look as good as they did in the video that they showed, like I think it's like a game that the art style is going to have aged pretty well.
Yeah, I think they're pretty. It's going to be pretty solid, right?
Yeah. And so that was the main stories. We do have like one news tidbit story, which is that Realm Royale was leaked for the Nintendo Switch. So basically what happened was a video appeared last week on Nintendo Portugal's YouTube showing that Realm Royale could be played now with a Founders Pack on the Nintendo Switch. But obviously this isn't the case because you can't play it yet on the Switch. It hasn't been announced for the Switch yet, I don't think. So I think basically what happened was the Portuguese Nintendo YouTube channel went early with this video or accidentally posted it, so it kind of has leaked that the game is coming to Switch at some point. And if you don't know what Realm Royale is, it was like massive this time last year, I think, for like about a month, and then everyone kind of dropped off playing it, and it's basically like a mix between Fortnite and Paladins, where you have like it's like this medieval world, and you kind of have like it's like very much like it looks like a Fortnite clone, but then I think the characters all have like unique powers.
It is the developers of Paladins, isn't it?
Yeah, Hi-Rez. Yeah.
I think they said a while ago they were bringing it over.
They were or they weren't?
No, that they were. That like it was their intention, but it was never kind of said like, oh, it's gonna be like at this date. It was just kind of like, I think they just kind of like mentioned it. It's gonna come at some point, but then they never said like, it's gonna be anytime soon. Yeah,
well, that's what I mean. I feel like they were probably gonna shadow drop it, like in the next couple of months, and Nintendo Portugal have released this, like blown their load a bit and released this video a bit too early. And like now, when you go and look on the YouTube now, like they've taken the video down. So I definitely think it's been a mistake on their end, which is quite interesting to see that these games are coming. Another free battle royale game on the Switch. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes with. Because I feel like Battle Royale is kind of has peaked and is now coming back down again on the other side. But yeah, don't know. So let's get into the meat of the podcast, which is section 2, our conversation portion. This week we're going to be talking about what we've played, and we're going to be giving our reviews of and impressions of SteamWorld Quest. So, Stevie, do you want to kind of give the elevator pitch for what SteamWorld Quest is, if people don't know?
Okay, I guess it's the people that made SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2 and SteamWorld Heist, and also they had a tower defense game on the was it PC?
It was just SteamWorld, I think, was it called? Yeah.
That's way back, and essentially within like their kind of universe, they've got a fantasy RPG with like the twist is like a card game combat mechanic.
So let's, I guess, start with the card-based combat. Like, what do you think of it? Because I feel like before people got their hands on the game, people were kind of saying and hoping that it was going to be like Slay the Spire. But what's your like impression on that?
It's kind of like a light version of Slay the Spire, I guess.
Yeah.
There's with Slay the Spire, you have to kind of attack and defend, but you don't really, and you get told what the opposing like enemies are going to do in their turn, but you don't get that in SteamWorld Quest.
No.
So I feel like it's more based around attacking and then like healing.
Yeah.
Compared to Slay the Spire, when you can kind of like negate damage. Although there is a way to do that in SteamWorld Quest, but it's generally kind of like attacking and healing really, rather than
like it's like you said, it's kind of like a light version that I feel like with Slay the Spire, like you're looking at the numbers and be like, okay, if I block for this much and they do this much damage, and on the next turn I can like, you know, I have these 2 attacks, I can do this and get this, and it's a lot more technical. Whereas this is more, I think the focus for me when I was playing it was like, okay, how can I get the combos off? So like the game has these combo moves where the way the combat works is you get dealt a deck of, is it 6 cards each hand? I think it's 6. 5 or 6. And basically, you can play 3 of them each turn. But if you play 3 cards from the same character, it triggers like a combo attack, which means that you get to use like a 4th move, which is linked to your character's weapon. And it's like a good way to, like, for me, I used Galeo, Coco, and Armili, or whatever she's called. It was a good way for like Galeo. I had him basically as a healer, so he was on his 4th, his combo attack. He was using it to heal the entire party. For Coco, she was like a kind of like a buffer, I guess. And on her 4th, on her combo move, she would cast shields on everyone. And for Millie, she was kind of my attacking kind of character. So she would always inflict bleed on an enemy on the 4th turn. And yeah, that's kind of like how I played the game. I was like, okay, how can I get the combos off quickly? Kind of like for me, it felt a bit more like a game like Darkest Dungeon or like Pokemon in a way, because you are quite limited to what cards you can use. Like each character only has a deck of 8 cards, so you pretty much know roughly what's going to be coming soon. And I like that you could kind of bank on, okay, I need like, I'm fighting like a tanky enemy, so I know soon I'm going to have like a poison card that's going to come and take damage over time, which I kind of liked. Like overall the combat was fun. I don't feel like it was challenging until the end, and then it gets really challenging, which is what we were kind of just talking about before the show. Yeah,
I think the kind of challenge isn't necessarily like tactical challenge. It's more kind of, you kind of end up running a bit of a gauntlet on some chapters where you end up in fight after fight after fight, and then like before, like there's these like save statues of when if you walk up to it, it will save the game, but if you like click on it, it will like heal you fully, but then also respawn all the enemies. So in some areas you have to kind of go backwards and forwards. So you don't want to respawn all the enemies, but at the same time, if you're going to get into another fight, you're going to start like having all your characters die because they're low on health. So it's a bit of a challenge. So it gets kind of tough in that way, rather than kind of like tactical. Where in Slay the Spire, I feel like you're always making really tough decisions.
Because you yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of, again, it's like Darkest Dungeon. It's basically each kind of chapter is almost like a dungeon, I guess. And you're kind of going from room to room, and some rooms have enemies in them, some rooms don't. And yeah, it's kind of like Stevie says, you basically get to a save statue. You can save your game or you can heal. And I guess they respawn the enemies because they want people to grind for levels if they're struggling. But yeah, it's like really annoying if you're like, okay, I've gone all the way through the dungeon and I know like I'm gonna fight a boss. So you're like, okay, and like in most instances there is usually a save statue before the boss. But there's been like times where I'm like, okay, I know there's a boss coming. There's no save statue. I don't have any items because I think in the early game it was quite hard to get items because you don't get that much money. But yeah, you're like, okay, I'll run back to the other statue save, but then it's like, okay, yeah, I forgot the enemies respawn, and you're like, well, that was pointless. Like the last 30 minutes I just spent fighting all these enemies was wasted because I've got to fight them all again. And like with some, you can kind of cheese it and like trick them into going like down on the screen, and you can quickly run up. But most of them are too fast that they'll trigger combat with you.
Yeah, I tried to do that in the last video I recorded. I was just like,
yeah.
I was getting really low on health, and I was like, okay, I'll just need to get past them. And so I tried to do that, but then they like made contact. So like if you in the overworld, if you press A beforehand and you hit them with your sword, then they will start like slightly weakened. Yeah. So you kind of want to like engage enemies in that way. But then if they just run into you, then like they've got full like health. So they were doing that, and then I was like doubly screwed because I had low health and they were at max health, and it was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
With your cards. Oh, sorry. With your deck building, how did you like split your cards? Because there's the like a Steam meter where you get like certain cards give you cogs, and then like the skill cards you use, like they kind of like cogs are like mana, or the Steam thing is like mana, so you gain mana or like cogs or Steam or whatever you want to call it, and then use the skill cards to kind of like use that,
spend
and
the mana,
and you can do like special abilities. So like what I generally do is in the early game I would have 4 cards that would give me cogs, and then 4 cards that would use cogs. But then later on
so you were talking about the cogs.
So what I would at first I'd have 4 cards that gave cogs and 4 cards that kind of used cogs, but then later on in the game you get cards which have, so like most cards that use cogs would have like a value. So this card or ability would cost 2 cogs, and this one would cost like 4 cogs. But then there were cards that did like X amount of cogs, so it would just use all of your cogs. And I think you can get up to like 10 cogs. So what I would do is have a lot of my characters just having cards that would give me cogs, and then only have like a few cards that would actually use the cogs. And then I'd build up my Steam really quickly in like a couple of turns, and then do like a massive amount of damage
big attack
that way.
Mine was like in the start of the game I kind of made like a noob mistake and being like, okay, I want to take like these 4 cog cards because they're really powerful. But then I soon realized, okay, I don't have like the economy to produce cogs fast enough to use them. So I was like holding cards in my deck that I was never ever using. So I kind of like switched it around a bit, and this is kind of why I liked using Amelie, because she has a lot of like strike cards. And like they give you a cog, so I was like, okay, she's kind of like the engine, like that's feeding the rest of the characters for these big ones. But I kind of made it as a rule, like, okay, I'm not gonna have cards over 2 cogs in my deck. I was just using cards up to 2 cogs because I felt like I couldn't produce enough cogs quick enough in the early game. And then as you progress, you unlock more cards by like exploring the world, and you can like craft them as well at the shopkeeper. And then you eventually get cards where it's like, oh well, if you cast this card, you get 2 cogs, 2 extra cogs this turn. Or there's like one Coco has where you cast it and you get an extra cog per turn. And then by the end of the game, I kind of was doing what you said. Like I had like 1 or 2 characters with these X cards. And it was getting to the point where, especially against some of the bosses towards the end, where the really long fights, where I was just using the X cards with like 10 cogs and doing loads of damage, and that's it's kind of that's how I played it. What lineup are you using right now? What are your characters?
Oh, do we want to spoil it? Because there's a few characters that
okay. True. All right. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm just basically I'm using like the basic free because I was too lazy to go back and try and grind for the other characters because I think when you get them they're like similar level to you, but I was like, I just want to try and progress, and I was trying to finish the story as quickly as I could for the review. But so I just stuck with them because I didn't want to have to go back and grind. But have you done any of the battle arenas yet?
No, not yet.
No.
I switched with the characters. I won't say who they are because I don't want to ruin it for people. But I switched Amelie out for the first character you get, and then I would have those three. So like Coco, Galeo, and like the new character, I would keep them. I mained them for quite a while, and then I experimented with the second character you get for a little bit, and then like instead of Coco, and then switch back to Coco, and then actually after like a few more chapters, I was like, actually no, I got a couple of cards that were really really good for like the last character you get. And I was like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put them in. So I took Coco out again. Yeah. So it's like the two characters that you pick up and Galeo.
Yeah, like I think that's what's quite cool about the game. Like I feel like it's accessible, but there's also like depth to it. And I feel like the two characters that you find later on in the story, they're like kind of characters that work interestingly together. Like I think they have a lot of like these tag team cards. And especially like the final one that joined your team, because of like a special reason. Like I think that it's interesting because they have like these different attacks, and I kind of feel like that's like the next level thing where I'm like, okay, I bet you could build a lot of good combos with them because they do have like these special attack things, but I don't really want to say what they are yet because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's definitely like a good game. Like I gave it 8 out of 10 in my review. The reasons why I kind of didn't give it a higher score was I felt like some of the boss battles were quite repetitive. Like you were fighting similar bosses over and over again. Like there's like one point where you fight like the same dragon 3 times. Like it has like a slightly different skin and different moves, but it's kind of like it's the exact same like character icon kind of thing, and then towards the end of the game you end up fighting like a lot of the same bosses again, which was a bit like okay, like it would have been like the fights were different, but visually I would have liked them to do something like have something look different than it just be the same sprite with the contrast turned down on it or something.
It's like it's the blue version instead of the red version.
But yeah, and it's you said you've just finished Act 3.
I'm right at the start of Act 4.
Yeah, so that's the final act. Like it took me about 15 hours to beat, but it was kind of funny because I didn't realize until like I think the third to last fight that you could speed up the fights. You could fast forward them. So I probably would have beat it in a quicker time if I'd known that. But like I said in the review, like I think like the animation and like the game itself looks really good, and the animations look really cool as well, like the attacks that your characters do. So I was kind of like happy to watch it play out. But if I was going to play through it again, I'd definitely speed up the fights.
Yeah, I've been holding down that for pretty much the whole game.
Yeah.
I wish you could just toggle it rather than kind of actually like have to hold it down, because it's not like Final Fantasy when you pick a move and it's like, oh, this like move is different animation to like the other move. It's like they're gonna hit them with their sword, or like it's not particularly different. Like the effects are different, but the actual animations are pretty much the same.
Yeah, but I kind of like it. Like Amelie, when she uses like a fire sword attacks, they look pretty cool. Like there's one where she kind of like, it almost looks like a Super Saiyan attack. She like powers up and then a sword like lights on fire and like she just swings it, but the kind of powering up I thought looked pretty cool. But But yeah, it's a good game. Like I think if you've never played a SteamWorld game before, I would suggest go and play SteamWorld Dig 2. Like I think there's it's like a different genre of game, but I think as a game, it's a bit more like well-rounded. Like it's one of my favorites, like Switch indie games. Like I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my review because I feel like it has like a good story. It's like a really good art style. It has like almost like Breath of the Wild style shrines in it with like really great puzzles. So I think if you're new to the series, I would go and check that game out first and play it. And then if you enjoy that, be like, okay, I want to see what else happens within this universe, like this expanding universe of SteamWorld. But yeah, if you've already played SteamWorld Dig 2, I think it's definitely a game worth picking up.
I'd think it's a really good place. Like if you're not really a person that's like super into RPGs, but you kind of want to get into RPGs a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's quite good. You don't have to grind too much. Like you can replay chapters if you like, and I've done that a little bit just to try and find some more treasure chests and that kind of thing. But you don't need to do that too much.
No.
And it's really simple to play, and you get the mechanics really easy. And like how I play, if I played the same 3 characters as you, I could play them differently because I could have a different deck.
Yeah.
Like there's not really like too much of a wrong way to play it.
No.
And I think it's like a great game if you're not really like that into RPGs, but you kind of want to get a little bit more into them, then I'd definitely say it's like, it's not like baby's first RPG. It's like, it's going to give you more resistance than that, but it's not going to be like Xenoblade when it's kind of like all these weird systems and like like 18 hours of tutorials or whatever. It's a bit more easy to jump in.
It's reflected in the length as well. Like I said, between like 12 and 15 hours you can play it. Like I pretty much played it in a weekend and finished it, and kind of when I finished I was like, okay, I'd like to play more. Like I don't know if I will, but like I'd definitely like to go back against it. Like it'd be cool as well if they added like maybe down the line in a patch like a multiplayer mode where you could just play against your friends and have like these like set battles against them. That would be pretty cool, I think, because like you said, even though there's a limited amount of characters, like there's pretty much an unlimited amount of combinations for the cards. So yeah, I think that would be a cool feature to add in. Good. So that was our review of SteamWorld Quest, and we've also been playing. We've got quite a wide range of games that we've been playing this week. Stevie, you wanted to talk about Horizon. Finish the name of the game for me, please.
Horizon Chase Turbo.
Horizon Chase Turbo. Okay, so
yeah, I reached out to the devs and was like, could I get a code for this? Like I know the game's been out for a while, and it was a bit of a cheeky ask, but they were super cool and like hooked me up with the code. So
nice.
Thank you very much, guys. And it's kind of like the reason why I really wanted to check it out is because the Switch Island guys have been like really into it. I wasn't sure. It's kind of like a little bit like Outrun, or stylistically it looks a little bit like Outrun, the old Sega arcade machine, and I was just like, I'm not sure if this is for me or not, but they were giving it like quite a lot of like glowing praise. So I was like, I need to check this out. And I've played it for about like 20 minutes the other day. I've just like only put it on once, but I've got to say, for like the amount of time I was like, I think I played it while I was like cooking something in the oven, so I couldn't play for too long. Otherwise I'd like burn everything.
The power of the Switch.
But I was like, I can do this. I can play for a little bit, and I managed to like complete the first city and go on to the next city, and it was like really, really fun. It's you don't have to be like super technically good at like racing games. Like it kind of like assists you a little bit going around corners. It's more like about changing lanes. But no, it's what I played of it so far is really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to like jumping into this game like more and getting like more cars unlocked and like upgrading those cars and playing like through all the cities. And then hopefully fingers crossed beating some of the Switch Island guys.
Times. I think that's like the real hook to the game. Like there are like these online multiplayer online leaderboards. And I think that's why the Switch Island guys got so into it, because they were just making competitions with themselves of who could do which tracks the fastest. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I have like a mixed relationship with Horizon Turbo Chase, because it was some questions on the Mario episode I was on.
That's one way to put you off.
Yeah, I can't remember if we got them right or not, but yeah, I don't want to say how the end of that episode finished, because I think it's just gone up on podcasting services. So if you want to listen to me on another podcast, make sure you guys check out the Switch Island Mario or Mario.
They also have an update coming out for this game as well, actually. Where there's like a nemesis mode kind of thing, and you're being chased by like another driver.
Like a ghost kind of thing.
I'm not sure. I think it's kind of like they've like built it as like the nemesis. I probably should have researched this before, but I think that's. I'm not sure if that's out or coming very soon. So apologies for not knowing that information.
I saw that the game's getting like a physical release in the next couple of months, I think. So maybe it's kind of tied to that.
Oh yeah, maybe that sounds plausible,
believable. Yeah, cool. Well, I've been playing a game called Ding Dong XL, which kind of has like a funny story. The developer, I think he's called Nicotron, and he was making like mobile games, and all of his games are called like something XL. And I actually originally heard about this game because it was one of the other YouTube podcasts I listened to, the Kind of Funny podcast. They were talking about it on there, and the guys kind of like downloaded it on their phones then, and said it was really good. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't really like playing games on my phone, so I didn't really think much of it. But then I think the developer and one of the guys from the podcast kind of somehow they got together, and the guy from the podcast helped the developer get it onto Nintendo, like gave us some contacts or whatever at Nintendo, and now the game's out on Nintendo. It's on the eShop it was like 99¢, so I guess it's 99p in the UK and 99¢ in America. And yeah, it's just like a really simple arcade game. You basically have a screen with shapes moving from right to left and left to right. And in the middle of the screen, you have like 2 points, and you are basically like this little disc in the middle of the points. And you use the ZR trigger to basically time the disc from going like vertically across the screen from one point to the other. And the idea is that you just try and get it across the screen as many times as possible before you hit one of these shapes that's moving across. And like it sounds pretty easy, but obviously, like the more you play, the more shapes go onto the screen, like more hazards go onto the screen. They get faster. There's also like perks that you can get or buffs. So there's like one that slows down time, so you can like kind of ping between each point as fast as you can within the time. Like slow down. There's also one that makes you invincible for a certain time. There's one that clears the screen, and it's like kind of like what we were saying about Horizon Turbo Chase. Like there's no online leaderboards, but it tells you what your highest score is. You can obviously then screenshot it and share it online with your friends and kind of, see who's got the best high score. It also has some like really cool like unlocks in it where you can change the disc into like different discs, and they're very like fan servicey to Kind of Funny, which is the podcast I listen to. There's also like an IGN disc on there. There's like a Jared Petty disc. There's the one from one of the indie guy called it Nintendo. I can't remember his name, but like his face is in it, and there's like a few other like YouTube references and like pop culture references in there. So it's kind of like gives you something to work towards, which is pretty cool. And and if you want to get crazy, it also has like multiplayer, so you can take the Joy-Cons off, and each Joy-Con controls like basically two things come up on the screen, and one Joy-Con controls the other. But if you want to be really crazy, you can control both at the same time, and you've got to like try and get them both across the screens at the same time, but they're like offset, so it's really hard to kind of balance them because they're moving at different times. But yeah, it's like really, really cheap game, really fun.
It's 89p in the UK shop because I've just bought it.
Yeah, and it's like literally, it's a game where you just load it up and you play for like a minute, and then it's like, okay, it definitely has that like, oh, I just want to have one more turn sense to it when you play, because it's the mechanics are so simple, but it gets like obviously progressively more difficult. But yeah, it's like great. Like, you know, if you're waiting, I don't know, you're waiting for your girlfriend to get ready for 5 minutes to go out. You're like, okay, I can just play one game of this easy. Or depending how good you are, you can play a few games if you're not very good. Or like, yeah, you know, tomorrow when you're waiting for the Switch Island boys to set up, it's like, okay, I can just play this whilst they sit and wait, and you just turn it off, and yeah, you don't need to go back to it. Like it's just like really simple arcade fun, which yeah, I really like, and it's really cheap, and the dev seems really cool, and yeah, it's got like a nice community behind it, like a nice community story behind it, which I like.
I'm looking forward to the Age of Boredom disc.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, my logo would fit on a disc pretty nicely. I wonder how how I can get it on there. I guess we'd have to have like, I don't know, some big response on Twitter or something. So I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, maybe if they ever release like a mod kit for the game, and then someone from the Discord could mod it in, because there's a few developers in there. So
yeah, get them to do it.
Yeah.
Well, my high score is 3.
3, yeah. See, like you start off not really knowing what to do, and yeah, I think I got 86 is my high score.
Well, I'm now on 5. So yeah, it's a great game to play when you're talking about YIIK Postmodern RPG.
Yes, so finally, after what feels like months, I think I started it January. I started it's YIIK, it's Y2K, a postmodern RPG. The I and I are Roman numerals for 2, which is a very confusing design choice, I think, but the kind of the developer in the game breaks the fourth wall and kind of makes fun of himself for choosing to call the name that. But yeah, I finally went back and finished it. I can't remember which episode I was talking about it, but I kind of said that it had gotten to a point where I'd basically finished the game, I guess, or like the story in the game, and the game was basically saying to me, okay, now you have to defeat the final boss. You won't be able to defeat him unless you're level 50, so now you have to go and grind for, I think I was on level 36 when I got at that point. And yeah, just the way they give out XP, it was just so slow and unbearable, and I was like, I can't go and grind battles for 14 more levels, so I kind of put the game down. And then about a month ago, I saw on Twitter that the developers, Axe Studios, they were putting out patches to try and make the grind less grindy and a bit easier to do. And yeah, and then I finished SteamWorld Quest, and I was like, you know what, I just want to go back and play some stuff finish off some stuff on my backlog, and I knew I was really close to finishing Y2K, so I decided to jump back in. The grind it still took about 4 hours to get to the end, but that was mostly like down to story stuff, like dialogue, like a lot of talking towards the end. The grind itself wasn't too bad. I had a few walkthroughs up on my computer, and it's basically you just had to go through the side missions, and they were basically like RPG side missions, like go here, fight this person, okay. But every time you did it, you got enough XP to level up. So it was like, okay, you did like, I think I did like 8 side missions that leveled up, and then there's like days where because you're basically going through the month of December and getting up to New Year's Eve 1999, where this big climax is going to happen. And then there's like days where you just talk to your friends, and each of those days you get XP as well. So I ended up finishing the game on like level 52. Got to the final boss. It was kind of easy, but there's also like these like, it's a very like kind of pretentious game where it tells you to get to that you won't beat the boss until you're level 50. So you grind to level 50, and then you find out that you can't actually beat the boss anywhere. Like it's like a story beat that the boss kills you. So luckily I kind of already read about this online, that okay, yeah, you can't beat the boss. You do damage to him. It stays on 1 HP until it basically wipes out your team. So that was a bit annoying, because I was like, well, why? I could have done this on level 36. It wouldn't matter. Like I needed to die anyway.
Yeah.
So it was a bit annoying, and then the ending was okay, I guess. Like they kind of try and have this like big reveal at the end that kind of is meant to be like this like mind-blowing moment, but it kind of made me just roll my eyes more, of like, oh my god, okay, all right, let's just get through this. I want to just get to the conclusion. And then it's kind of like, okay, if you think it ends here, it doesn't end there. Okay, then you play like another hour. It's like, okay, well, where's the end? Like, I need to get to the end sequence. And then you basically fight like another boss battle, which is it's like a set piece again where you just can't win. So yeah, you kind of then have to like work out what you need to do. There's like a little bit of a puzzle to it. And then that was the end. And it's funny, it's like a game, it's like, for me, it's like the epitome of like a love-hate relationship, this game. Like
abusive relationship.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's really like an interesting game, and the story is really interesting, but it's just so like bloated and like self-aware and pretentious, and like they're just trying to do so much with it that it just makes you kind of, like I said, like roll your eyes. Like basically the story is about like these hipsters that try and save the universe in the 1990s, and you kind of like, okay, yeah, it kind of sounds interesting, and it is like a really interesting story. It's like really different, and it's fine, but the combat I just hated by the end. Like it's just not balanced. Like you can't the way XP is given out doesn't work. The way like there's like mini games in the combat isn't balanced. Like there's one where you have to do like you can do like a 10 times combo on it, and it does like a 10th of the enemy's damage. Or there's one where you can just do like a 1 times combo and it does like 60% of the enemy's damage. And you're like, well, surely the one that does the 10 times combo should have more damage than the one that does like 1 times like combo. So yeah, there's like a lot of issues about it, the game, but sorry, it's like a game that like I'm kind of like sad I've finished now. I'm like, okay, now that it's done, like I don't need to think about it again. But there is like a lot of themes in there that are like thoughtful, and like the characters I didn't really like that much, but like I think that's, or at least I hope that's how they're supposed to be. Like you're not supposed to like them too much, but then you kind of end up like getting to care for them, and because like they're really well voice acted, and it makes them a bit more believable. And also like the music in the game is like I'm not really into music in video games at all. Like I appreciate it, and I appreciate that other people that like really get into music in video games. But this is like the first video game where I'm like, every song was like a 10 out of 10. Like every track in it is awesome. Like the battle themes, you know, I could probably like just off the top of my head like repeat them, kind of thing, which I've never really had in a game before. So yeah, like it's a lot of mixed views. I'm just finishing writing up my review now, so it'll be going up like this weekend or maybe on Monday. So look out on switchindiefix.com for the review. But yeah, it's a very complicated game. It's like a long game, a lot of problems, a lot of good things about it. But yeah, it's for me, it's kind of like, feel like a thorn's been pulled out of my side now a little bit that I finished it.
Yeah, I was gonna pick it up, but then like I heard you talk about like you was having problems with it, and then I think on a few other podcasts like some people mentioned that like there was certain aspects that weren't great, and it was kind of like, oh, this on paper this sounds like it'd be really, really good, but yeah, like, I think the delivery wasn't quite exactly there, and that it sounds really frustrating, like you're saying about the end boss, like having to kind of grind, and then they kind of pulled like the rug from underneath you and was like, actually, you can't even do it. Haha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is like I was saying in my review, like it feels like an alpha version of a game, and that like someone just needs to go through with like a fine-tooth comb and be like, okay, we need to change this, we need to tweak this, and it just feels like, I don't know, maybe like if they keep like patching it, it's like, oh, maybe in like a year or two it'd be like a really streamlined experience. But just right now, just the combat and like some of the story plots, they're just like, yeah, they're just so like bloated, and they meander so much that you kind of like, what is going on here? Like why? Like there's like one.
It needs some editing.
Yeah, it just needs like what's the word? Optimizing, kind of. Which I guess is like, yeah, you know, if like you were saying before, like if you're like a small indie team and this is like your pet project and you've been working on it for years and you put like your heart and soul into it, like sometimes it's kind of hard to see like, okay, maybe we could have cut this bit, maybe we don't need this bit. But yeah, there's a lot that I feel like instead of it being like a 25-hour game, it could have been like a really, really good 15-hour game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to know more about my thoughts, make sure you check out the review on switchindiefix.com. And you wanted to talk about Dragon Mark for Death.
Oh yeah, they just basically they've released another update on that as well. Mm-hmm. And then that's been, I think they've added new quests, some free quests, and like in the last update they added kind of crafting, and now I think they've added even more stuff, and they've like the level caps like increased, and yeah, it's kind of cool. A lot of people, when that game came out, were really hyped for it, and then I think a lot of people kind of started to play it and realized it's quite grindy, and like bounced off it quite hard. It's like it's quite a tough game to play solo as well, and on some levels, especially the beginning levels. So yeah, a lot of people kind of bounced hard off that game, but I think it's really cool that the devs are like still updating that game like quite a bit already, and yeah, like it came out in February, I think, and this is like the 2.1 or 2.2 version. Like it's had like four or five kind of like iterations on it already. And I just think that's pretty cool. And it's if you've like not checked out the game, like I think it's worth people like checking out, because it's still like a really enjoyable game. Just be aware that it is a little bit grindy in places. But if you play online with other people, even with randoms, like there's you can use the D-pad to like chat with people, so you can just be like, I need healing, or like you can kind of give like directions. And everyone I've played with has been like really, really like chill. Well, you can't abuse, because you're only using directional pads to talk. You can't really abuse anyone. But like people get through the.
I don't know. I was playing Rocket League last night, and some games we were winning like 7-0, and they weren't abusive, but they were just spamming stuff in. It's the same thing, right? You press like up and then right or up, down, right or left to choose what you want to say, and people were just spamming stuff in there. And I was like, okay.
But no, I mean, it's like a co-op game, so yeah, there's not like no one's gonna get like shirty with you over anything. So, and also, say if they like get through to the end boss, when they're at the end boss, it will say, do you want to skip to the end boss? And then you can say yes or no, but there'll be a countdown, and after 30 seconds you'll skip to it anyway. So if you're just next to a chest and you want to open the chest, then you've got a little bit of time to do that. But
that's decent.
It won't keep people waiting. So like there won't be like 3 people waiting at the boss waiting for like one slow person. Yeah. Like it will skip them through to the boss.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So that was the games we've been playing this week. Why don't you let us know what you've been playing? Hit us up at SwitchIndieFix on Twitter, or at Age of Boredom on Twitter, and tell us what you've been playing. Or you can also come and join the Switch IndieFix Discord server if you just go to switchindiefix.com/Discord. If you want to join the conversation, talk about all things indie on the Nintendo Switch, come and join in. So the final section for this week is section 3, our questions section. We only have one question this week, and that comes from Kool-Aid Moonwalk. And Kool-Aid asks, could you see more shows having games made on them similar to what Netflix is doing with Stranger Things? If so, what is your favourite show currently, and what genre of game do you think it could be if adapted into a video game? Any thoughts? Or should I start?
You know what? I read that question like really quickly earlier and totally read it wrong, and was just like, what computer game would I want to have as a TV show? Which is like totally not what he said.
No.
But for the record, it would be BioShock. But
okay.
You know what? Actually, Netflix program that I would want as a computer game. This is gonna be bonkers. But I would love Queer Eye as a kind of weird like sim slash management
fashion sim.
Like a management game kind of thing, like where you have to like level up people and get them to like different places to like realize like things about themselves, or like that kind of thing. Like
I'm sure there must be like an OG Queer Eye like Nintendo DS game. Like I'm sure there's one on there. It's like you can probably like pick the outfit. Like you can imagine it on the touchscreen. Like pick the outfits. Like get the style bonuses or something.
What I'm imagining is something like. Did you ever play Holy Potato: A Weapon Shop?
No.
Like something like that, where you have like people that work in your weapon shop and you upgrade them, and that one's like a weapon designer and one's like a blacksmith or something, and then one's the person that like adds magical powers. Or I'm trying to do this from memory. That was probably completely wrong, but there was like different types of like weapon maker, and then you upgrade them, and then they basically add different properties.
Yeah.
And what I'm imagining is maybe something similar to that. So like you kind of like you want to upgrade like the fashion guy, or like upgrade the kind of like grooming person or the life coach, and then like it helps kind of
like the final product of the guy.
Yeah, but then also there'd be maybe like multiple choices and stuff, and it'd be like the guy's had this problem in his life. Do you want to do like A, B, C, or D? And then you like you pick like one of those, and then that would be like, oh, okay, like B kind of was like the optimum choice, like, and his outcome is going to be like even better. Or maybe you pick like the wrong one and you end up like ruining his life, kind of thing. Like after this, like he never spoke to his brother ever again, kind of thing. You're like, oh, I just ruined his life. Or like his wife like divorced him because his fashion sense was terrible and you shaved his head, or something, you know.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a management / maybe like sim game. Like Sims game. Yeah, that's quite good. That's a good idea. That's like mine was going to be like an obvious one. I think would have been like Game of Thrones, because I feel like there's not been like a good Game of Thrones game apart from maybe Reigns. But yeah, maybe something like I would have said something in Game of Thrones, but I think your idea is a lot more unique, and it feels like one you've been thinking about for a long time. So
it's literally just come to me. But you know what? Like, I'm starting a games company
around people.
I'm starting a games company right now. I'm doing this. I just need to learn how to develop things and write a design document and all of that kind of stuff. But there you go. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's a good shout. Yeah, like I say, a lot more original than mine. But yeah, so I think we will leave it there with Age's Queer Eye for the Straight Guy video game pitch. If anyone listening from Devolver or Tiny Build wants to get in touch, hit him up at Age of Boredom on Twitter, and let him know. Send him some money so he can make this game. So thank you everyone for tuning in and consuming the podcast wherever you watch and or listen to it. Thank you to my amazing co-host, Age No Thumbs of Boredom, for coming on and talking about SteamWorld this week. Once again, where can people find you?
Age of Boredom on YouTube, so youtube.com/Age of Boredom, and at Age of Boredom on Twitter.
Very cool. And yeah, if you want to see some SteamWorld Quest gameplay, or Dragon Map for Death gameplay, what we've been talking about this week, make sure you go and check him out there. Maybe even some Ding Dong XL gameplay. Go and check out his YouTube. The podcast will go up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as soon as I can after the show. Please make sure to review it wherever you can. If you'd like to get in contact with me directly, make sure you hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at SwitchIndieFix, or come over and join the Switch IndieFix Switch IndieFix Discord server at switchindiefix.com/Discord. And yeah, for more reviews, including my upcoming Y2K review, and we also have a review of Air Conflicts, the collector's edition or complete edition, coming up next week. Make sure you go to switchindiefix.com just switchindiefix.com, or you can go off switchindiefix.com/reviews. You'll also find them there. So yeah, thanks again, Stevie, for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.